morning, students. So in the last class we started with the non-preemptive scheduling policies, and so under that heading we discussed the one scheduling technique which is called a first come first served scheduling technique, right? So I explained the basics of CFS, and we have taken one example in which 5 processes were in queue, and those how those 5 processes were executed, that I told with their admission time and the service time, right? So we discussed the first column, that is completed process, that is ID, right? So which all processes are scheduled at what time, right? So now I need to discuss the two more new terms. Those are turnaround time and weighted turnaround time, right? So before we see these two columns, first we need to go through what is the definition of turnaround time. Okay, so we will go back to those terms, right? So just see here, what is turnaround time? A turnaround time is a time between the submission of a job or a process and its completion by the system, right? So the time between submission of a job and completion of that particular job. Okay, now we will go here, right? So now so last class I have drawn one timing line, right? So in which I have shown at what time the process is going to enter the computer system, right? And at what time they are going to leave, depending on their service time. Okay, so at 0th second P1 is entering into the system, and its service time is equal to 1. Its service time is equal to 3, right? So it will take 3 seconds to complete, right? So at P3, right? So at P3, this is 0 to 1 1 second, 1 to 2 2 seconds, 2 to 3 3 seconds. So at P3 it goes out. At P3 the process P1 is removed from the memory, or the whatever CPU which is allocated to that particular process is released, and it will be allocated to some other process. So now according to the definition of turnaround time, the time between submission of a job and its completion, right? So here that the process is coming, it is getting finished at 3 seconds, and it is entering at 0th second. So what is the time difference between this process? It is 3 minus 0. That means the turnaround time for a process P1 is 3 seconds. So I hope you understood, right? So we'll take a next process. P2 is entering at admission time, which is equal to 2. So P2 is entering at 2, right? So but P2 is scheduled at what time? P2 is scheduled once P1 completes its execution. That means P2 is scheduled at 3 seconds, right? And what is its service time? Its service time is also 3, right? So it will finish its execution after 3 seconds. That means P2 will come out of the process computer system, or CPU is released from P2 at 6th second, right? So now what is the time difference between P2 and what is the turnaround time? It is it is entering at 2, right? At what time it is entered into the system, and at what time it is exiting the system. That means it is exiting at 6 and it is entering at 2. So what is the time difference? 6 minus 2, which is equal to 4, right? So I hope you understood, right? Next, P3 is entering at 3rd second, and P3 is scheduled once P2 completes its execution. That means, so at 6th second P3 is scheduled, right? And what is the service time of P3? It is equal to 5. That means 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 and 11, right? So that means P3 will finish its execution at 11th second, right? So 5 seconds now after P3 schedules, right? So P3 is entered at 3, and it is finishing its execution at 11. So 11 minus 3 is 8, right? Similarly P4 is entering at 4th second. P4 is entering at 4th second, and its service time is 2, and P4 is scheduled once P3 completes its execution, that is at 11th second, So it is 12:13. It takes only 2 seconds to finish its execution. So P4 will exit the computer system at 13th second, right? So what is the time difference of P4? 13 minus 4, because at 4 P4 is entering into the system. So 13 minus 4 is 9. Okay. Next, the last one, P5. P5 is entering at 8th second. 8th second, and P5 is scheduled once P4 finishes its execution. P4 finishes its execution at 13, right? So, and service time of P5 is 3. That means 14, it takes 3 seconds to complete its execution. 14, 15 and 16, right? So at 16th second P5 will be out of the computer system, right? So that means what is the time difference? 16 minus 8 is equal to 8. So I hope you understood the turnaround time column, right? Now what is weighted turnaround time? Let again go back to the definition of weighted turnaround time. What is weighted turnaround time? It is the ratio of turnaround time of a job, process and its own service time. So whatever the turnaround time we calculated now, so that has to be divided by the service time of that particular process. Then we will get the what? We will get the weighted turnaround time. So provided, so to calculate weighted turnaround time, provided the turnaround time must be correct, otherwise we will get a wrong result. Okay. So but if you have not understood turnaround time, so please go back in this video and please try to understand turnaround time first before you calculate the weighted turnaround time, right? So it is weighted turnaround time is a ratio of turnaround time to its own service time, right? So what is turnaround time of process P1? So what is turnaround time of process P1? It is 3, right? So 3 divided by its service time. Its service time is also 3. So 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. So weighted turnaround time of process P1 is 1, right? Next, what is turnaround time of P2? P2 is 4 and its service time is 3. P2 service time is 3. So what is the ratio? It is 4 divided by 3, which is equal to 1.33. 1.33, right? So in the exam, what they give? They will give this table. They give this table, process for scheduling, right? So they may vary this admission time and service time, right? So accordingly, you have to calculate this turnaround times and weighted turnaround times, right? With explanation. Okay. Then finally, you have to calculate the mean turnaround time and the mean weighted turnaround times. Okay. Similarly, P3 turnaround time is 8. Its service time is 5, right? So what is its ratio? It is 8 divided by 5, which is equal to 1.6, right? So weighted turnaround time is 1.6. Next, 9 by 2, which is equal to 4.5, right? And for P5, 8 divided by 3, which is equal to 2.67, right? So finally we will calculate the mean turnaround time. What is mean turnaround time? It is the average of all turnaround times, right? So you just sum these turnaround times. 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 plus 8 is 15, 15 plus 9 is 24, 24 plus 8 is 32. So 32 divided by how many turnaround times you have? Total 5. So there are 5 processes, 5 turnaround times. So 32 divided by 5 is 6 by 4 seconds. And a weighted turnaround time, on a similar basis, you add them, all weighted turnaround times you add them and you take average of that, that is divide the sum by 5, you will get the mean weighted turnaround times, right? So these all things you have to explain once if they ask in the exam, right? So here what modification they may do, they may change the admission time of a process and the service time of a process. Accordingly, you need to calculate the second table, that is the time at which the processes are entering and when they are getting completed their execution, and you have to calculate turnaround times and weighted turnaround times along with these two columns, that is process in the system in FCFS order and the scheduled process. Okay. So moving to the next slide, in which we are going to discuss the second non-preemptive scheduling policy, which is called the shortest request next. Right. So as the name itself tells, it is going to check which process is going to have a less service time. Right. So depending on that, the process is scheduled. So the operating system is not going to schedule the processes based on first come first served basis, right? So the processes are going to be scheduled on their service time or on their request time. Suppose the process P1 has a less request time, then it will be scheduled first. Let us say P5 has a less service time, then it will be scheduled next, uh, instead of scheduling the other processes, right? So let us start the discussion. The shortest request next scheduling. A SRN scheduler always schedules the request with the smallest service time, right? So it will check the service time of these process, and which process has a least service time, that process will be scheduled first. Thus, a request remains pending until all shorter requests have been serviced, right? So the process having a more service time, so the such process has to wait for a longer time until all the less request time service processes are scheduled and gets executed, right? So let us take the same example again here. This table is same, but only this table varies because the scheduling policy is different. Okay, so even in exam they may change these admission times and service times, and accordingly you have to calculate the second table contents. Okay, the first one, right? At t is equal to 0th second, at t is equal to 0th second. So what happens here? See, again I will draw that timing diagram here. At 0th second, the process P1 is entering into the computer system, right? So its service time is 3 because we don't have any other process in the computer system. P1 itself is the first process which is entering at 0th second. So it has the scheduler will consider its process service time is very less, so that particular process will be scheduled. Okay. Next, P1 is entering at 0th second, and its service time is 3, and that itself is considered as a less service time or less request time. So P1 is scheduled, and once P1 is scheduled, it will be it will execute on the computer on central processor unit, and it will finish its execution. So P1 is entering at 0, and it will finish its execution at 3, right? So P1 will come out of the system at third second. Okay, so see, at time t 0, uh, there is no completed process, so here put dash here. Process in the system, only P1 is there in the system, and the same process P1 is scheduled, right? So in the under scheduled process, P1 is scheduled, right? So next, P2 is entering at 2, right? And P3 is entering at 3, right? So once the process P1 completes its execution, what happens? Once the process P1 completes its execution at 3, now how many processes are there in the system? There are two processes, one is P2, one is P3, right? So one is the completed process at third second is P1, right? So later we will discuss turnaround and weighted turnaround. Okay, the completed process is P1 at 3, and at 3 how many processes are there in the system? There are two processes, P2 and P3, right? So P2 and P3. So which process is scheduled? In case of first come first served basis, P2 was entering before P3, so P2 was scheduled. Now the scheduler will check the service times of these two processes. If they are same, then any one of the processes is scheduled, right? But their service times are different as per this table, right? So P2 has a service time of 3, P3 has a service time of 5. So which process has the shortest request time? Request next, shortest request time, or shortest service time? It is P2. So P2 is scheduled. So P2 is scheduled, right? So P2 is scheduled at 3 and it will be serviced for 3 seconds. So that is 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. So after 3 seconds, P2 is available with its execution or results, and it will be taken out of the compute system, right? So now how many processes are there in the system? So here at P4 is entering at 4th nanosecond. So this is P4 is entering into the system at 4th nanosecond, right? So once the P2 finishes its execution at 6th second, how many processes are available, right? So let us say what is the completed process? It is P2 at what time? It is 6th second, right? So now once the P2 finishes its execution, how many processes are there in the system? There are two. One is P3, one is P4, right? So you can see here P3 and P4 are there in the system, right? But which process is scheduled? Again, it will check the service time of P3 and P4. P4 has less service time compared to 5 or P3, right? So which is equal to 2. So P4 is scheduled at 6th. So it will take only 2 seconds to execute completely, right? And P4 is available with its results at 8th, right? So completed process, you can see P3 and P4 are available in the computer system, and P4 is scheduled, and P4 will finished at 8th. P4 will finish its execution at 8th second, right? So now, and P5 is entering at 8. P5 is entering at 8, right? So now at 8th second, P4 is finishing its execution, and how many processes are there in the system? There are again two, P3 and P5. Even though P3 has entered at 3, it is not serviced yet because its service time is more compared to the other processes, right? So at 11, P4 gets finished at 8, right? So then there are two processes in the system, P3 and P5, right? So which process is scheduled next? It is P5, because P5 request time or service time is less compared to P3. So P5 is scheduled, and it will finish its execution after 3 seconds, that is 9, 10 and 11, right? So at 11, P5 will finish its execution. At 11, P5 will finish its execution. And now how many processes are available? At 11, P5 will finish its execution. Okay. Now after finishing P5, how many processes are available? It is only one, that is P3 in the system. So P3 itself is remaining system, and that process is scheduled, and it will be completed after 5 seconds, right? So at 16th second, 11 plus 5. So P3 will finish its execution. You just check. Even though P3 has entered at 3 second, it will be going to finish its execution at last because of more service time, right? So now in the same manner you calculate turnaround time. What is turnaround time? Entering time, exit time minus entry time, right? So for P1 it is 3 minus 0, it is equal to 3, right? For P2 it is 6 minus 2, it is 4, right? Next completed process is P4. Just refer this timing diagram to calculate the third column, the turnaround time column. Okay, P4 is exiting at 8 and it is entering at 4, so 8 minus 4 is 4. Next finished process or completed process is P5. It is exiting at 11 and entered at 8. So 11 minus 8 is 3, right? Next, the last one, P3, exiting at 16 and entered at 3, so 16 minus 3 is 13. So similarly you calculate turnaround times and mean of weighted turnaround times.